All right, we're back. We did a bit of troubleshooting with some of the guys, took a little bit of time. We're back. I want to kind of quickly add the other two things, right? Without collisions. We'll do collisions and scoring next time. Next we still have some time. All right, so how do we do this stuff? Let's go back in here, and what I want to do is we've got our files for our plane. Let's add our island in there, and our island is going to be identical to the plane, except for it's going to have a different object, or sorry, it's going to be identical to the ocean, the same kind of style, but it's going to also be, instead of a bitmap, it's going to be like the plane, right? So let's try this out really quickly. So I'm going to go into my objects. Now that I have this open, right-click, new file, and we're going to do this. We're going to call this island .ts. There's our island.ts file, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take a copy of the ocean for a second, just so that way we don't have to copy and paste all this stuff. So I'm going to Command or Control A for everything. Command or Control C. I'm going to go back to the island. Right, and we're going to make some changes as opposed to do this. Now, whenever you see I'm copying code, that's a good indicator that there might be a chance for adding it to our game object class, right? But we'll see how we're going to modify that later on. So Control V. Now, we can't make it so that's the ocean. That thing is going to be called the island, and it's not going to extend create.js bitmap. It's going to extend objects game object. That's the first thing, and we can't use super assets this because it's not the ocean. We're just going to pass in a value that is the name of the island, right? So we've got all that covered. That's the first thing. So now dy is going to be the same as the ocean. We're still going to reset, but the problem is that we still need our our regex and reg-y values are still there. And what we're going to do for our check bounds is we're going to wait until the bottom. When the bottom of the island, our reset, first of all, isn't going to be minus 960, right? Our reset is going to be the height of the island. So the height of the island is a certain size, 65 pixels or something like that. It's going to go to minus 65. So the best thing to do is go minus this dot underscore width. So that we're going to reset. That's where it's going to be. Right now, we're going to check bounds. So when the y-axis is greater than the screen, which is 480 pixels, plus the full height of the plane, full height of the island, then we're going to reset. So it's going to be greater than the height of the screen, which is 480, plus this dot underscore width, or height, sorry, not height, width. Did I use height there? Width. Height, that'll be okay. All right, so that's all it's going to be, 480 plus this. Let's put this in brackets from order of operations. So we're going to say kind of one of those, brackets, brackets, and brackets again. Right, there we go, and save. So there's that check. So that's all it is right now. Let's check that and see if it works by adding it into the index.html page, which would be the same as the plane. So we'll put it in the same levels. We'll kind of copy it in there and put it in there. And we're going to make this, call this island. And again, I'm going to go back into the game.ts screen under my states. Or sorry, no, my regular game.ts, which is under my scripts here. And under my plane, I'm going to copy this thing and put another reference to the island here. Okay, so good. We have island, and now we want to go to my game.ts here, and in my game I've got my ocean. I want to add my island, and it's going to be underneath my plane, so it's going to be in here. So we're going to say ocean, and then the private underscore island is equal to objects dot island. That's the type of code hinting we want to get. We're going to add island to scene, right? And we're going to say this dot underscore island is equal to, like we did before, new objects dot island, and then this dot add child, this dot underscore island. Okay, so that's what this does. So it kind of adds the island to the scene. Now we also do an update, because every frame it's going to update, and it's going to be below the ocean. This dot underscore island dot update, and we have to make some changes to the island class in a second, but that's okay. We're going to Command Shift B to kind of save everything so it's updated. And now we're going to go into the local copy and refresh. We're going to go to start, and you're going to see that we have an error. Let's see what the error is, because you see how it errored out. Once we did that, we have an error, and I can tell because of the way it works. So that's good. So let's see what the error is. All right, let's look at the console, and it says uncaught type error, objects.island is not a function. Objects.island is not a function. Uncaught type error, cannot read property update of undefined. Okay, somewhere I didn't save, so let's go back. So we'll go back here, and we're going to make sure that everything is saved. So we're going to say, just to make sure under code, we're going to say file, save all. That's the first thing, right? Because we added an island, and I said objects.island, and I want to go back up to, there's no errors here, which is a good thing. And one thing I want to do is I want to check my island class to make sure that I did things correctly. So double click. What did I do? Wow, where did I put that stuff? No. Where'd it go? That's weird. Okay, so where did I put that stuff? Not here, not here, not here. That's really weird. Not here. I put it somewhere. Well, oh. What the? Look at this. Well, that's okay. I don't know what I did here, but I created another ocean. Okay, that's not what I wanted. So it doesn't matter. I can correct this really quickly by copy and go to my island and then paste, and then that's cool. And then I'm going to get rid of this one. So I'm going to get rid of this ocean, these ocean files right here by going delete. Yes, move to trash, and also this one, move to trash, and also this one. That's really weird. I don't know how that happened. That was just my quick, insane typing that did it, right? Okay, cool. Blah, 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 blah. Control-Shift-B. Command or Control-Shift-B. I have it there. That's my island is actually there. Let's check it. Yeah. Ooh, that was weird. And now let's go back and try that again. So now, kill this thing here and go back to start. And there's my island. And my island is going to always be on the top left corner of my screen because I haven't told it where to randomly appear. So in my reset, I want to create a random x coordinate somewhere in the width of my screen. So that's what it's going to be. That's the next change I'm going to make. So let's go back into this, and I'm going to go back into my island, and I'm going to say, there's no dy, but I have a random y that I need, right? So in my reset method, the y coordinate is this, and the x coordinate is going to be this dot underscore, this dot x is equal to a random number. So I'm going to say this dot floor, and I'll be okay, math dot floor, right? Math dot random, right? And then I want to multiply that by the size of the screen, which is 480, right? So 640 pixels, right? So it's going to be 0 to 640, and we're going to add 1, right? Just to make sure that's from 0 to 640 pixels. So math.random, math.floor, I'm going to add 1 at the end. There we go. That's what the random number is. So we're going to say a random number between 0 and 640. That's what the x coordinate is going to be, somewhere in there, right? So it's going to be a random location that this is running. We're going to recompile. And after we recompile, we're going to go back into the screen and check to see that the island works properly by going here. And you see now that every time we go down, the island switches positions. And if I want to check my position, I can see that the plane goes on top of the island. So that's the first thing I need to do. And my island script is almost identical for my cloud script. So let's make my cloud script really quickly in 3 minutes. Let's see if I can do this before these other, the assassins come in and kill us. All right, so we're going to go right click and we're going to go new file. Yeah, close the door, would you? And in my objects, we're going to make this cloud.ts. Here we go. And this is where our cloud.ts file is going to be. And I'm just going to go first of all, I'm going to go to my island class, my island.ts file, and I'm going to Command A, Control C, and then I'm going to go into my cloud.ts and Control V. This is my control, and change my. Why isn't that airing out? Okay, let's change this to cloud. Okay, there we go, cloud. And now that I've got my cloud, just to remember, let us add in into my index.html right away. We're going to add that in right away. So here's my island, comma, and paste. We're going to make this, one of them is going to be called cloud, cloud.js, right, instead of cloud.ts. We're going to go back into my game, the core game class, and we're going to take my one of these island just as a copy, and and we're going to put that in as cloud. We're still going to make one more change, cloud.ts. And when I go back into my cloud, we need to make some changes, right? Because we haven't done that. One is the superclass has got to say cloud, because that's what I'm using. And I also want a dx value for a little bit of drift. Dx is a number. I know I'm going to need that. So I want my cloud to drift aside as well, right? Which we're going to get when we reset. Okay, so dx and dy, I'm going to set my dx value to a random value, right? And my dx value is going to be a random speed between 2 and between 2 and thing. Now, also my dy value is going to be random. It's not going to always be fixed. So where would I set this if I want it to be random? Well, I would set it in reset, right? So my dy and my dx, I'm going to pull off here. So get rid of this, put this in reset, right? Because my dy value, I want it to be random. So I want a random number between, let me see if you guys can help me out, right? For my dy value, between a minimum of 5, the same speed as the island, and a maximum of 10. How do I do that? How do I code that? Minimum of 5. I want to start it at 5, and I want to go to 10. So, of course, it would be something like this, right? So math.floor and math.random. It's going to be times 5, from 0 to 5, right? I'm going to add 5 to it, right? So 5, minimum 5, maximum 5. That's my dy value. So my dy is actually going to be a variable speed. I want to do the same thing for the x value, but this is where the funky stuff starts. So my dx is going to be equal to math.floor, math.random. Math.floor just makes it so it reduces it. I want to multiply this, from 0 to 4, right? So any number from 0 to 4, and then what I want to do is I want to minus 2, right? So what does that do? So it goes from, if I start at 4, if I get a 4, it goes to 2, right? If I get a 0, it goes to minus 2, right? So from minus 2 to 2 is what I'm doing, right? That's the drift. This is the horizontal drift. And this right here is the vertical speed. That's what that is, right? So vertical speed and horizontal drift of my x and y coordinates. And now what I want to do is I want to add these into my update every frame. So what I'm going to do is on reset, this is what this does. And on update, I want to say this dot x now. Oh, God. How did I do that? I want to say this dot x plus equals to this dot underscore dx, right? So that makes sense. So I start off on x. And by the way, what's my x value? By default, I should probably set that up, right? Well, my x value and my y value starts off at the top left corner of the screen, but it's going to be reset because here's my x and y. So I might as well put these x and y values before I add them. It doesn't really matter. It still gets reset here all the time, right? And I set this up here in my reset. So I reset first, and then on update, I update this all the time. So now you're going to have cloud that goes this way or that way, okay? In my cloud class. And this is my cloud class. I'm going to do some commenting later, okay? And let's just try this out. So I'm going to kind of add this in, right? I'm going to just compiled. I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to refresh. And then I'm going to start, and I should see my cloud come into place. Oh, wait, I forgot to do something. Yeah, baby. I'm too fast. So I'm going to go back into my game.ts file, which is under my states. And I need to add a cloud object. It doesn't matter where I put it. I probably want to put it above the plane, so after the plane. So private underscore cloud. But this is only one cloud. How would I put if I wanted to have a group of clouds? Right? Well, I would make a cloud array, right, which kills people. But anyways, and then of course I would go under here and say this dot underscore cloud dot update, which is what I want to do. And of course I'm going to add the cloud after the plane. So it's going to be ocean, island, plane, and then clouds that I'm going to add in. So I'm going to say add cloud to scene. And say this dot underscore cloud is equal to new objects dot cloud. Right, and then this dot add child this dot underscore cloud, which actually will do what I needed to do, right, to add the cloud into the scene. And then what we'll do is I'll say added island and cloud. in my thing. So let's just Control Shift B. Let's check out the and see if this works. Refresh, go here, and now we should see a cloud that comes in randomly. And you can see how it's fast and how it's a little slow. So all I do is, and it's kind of got a negative drift to it, right, all the time. It's kind of going to the left all the time. There's one that goes straight down. How about one that goes to the right? I want to see one that goes to the right. How come? And I can monitor this. It could be that I have to add another 1 to it. Because I'm going from 0 to 4, but not exactly 4. So it's never getting to 4, right? There it is. There's a bit of drift. I've just been unlucky. There we go. All right, so I get some fast clouds. Now this is the thing for the clouds, and if I want more than one cloud, like I said, I could in my scene, right? Here's in my scene. This is where it gets a little hairy. I could go cloud 1, cloud 2, cloud 3, but that makes no sense, right? So I want to do an array of clouds, and the way to do an array of clouds is do one of these. Private clouds, right, is an objects.cloud, right, array. That's what it is, an array of objects.cloud. So I've got an array of objects instead of just one object, right? And I don't have to tell it how many objects I have. All I have to do is instantiate a number of objects that I want. So let's just get rid of this for a second, right? So I've got my cloud objects. And what I want to do is I want to add them into the scene one time here in my start, right? So I want to do something like this. I want to say this.clouds, and I want to kind of into my my cloud num, depending on my cloud, as an example, is equal to new objects.cloud, an anonymous object, right? That's what I want, this cloud. But I don't have this right now, right? And I want to add this clouds. Watch me what I'm doing here. Clouds, cloud. I want to add that into my scene, right? But I don't have this. The reason why I want to do this is I want to put this in a for loop. So I'm going to type for, control space, and control space. And notice I have a for that I can use. There's my for. And I'm going to undo that for a second. So for, control space, oops. And I can choose for. And now in my index, I can back that up and call that cloud. Right? There's my cloud array. And inside there, I'm going to put all this stuff. I'm going to take all this, I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to put that in here and paste. Right? And it's not array length that I want, of course, but the number of clouds, which is going to be less than 3. So this is what I'm adding in. I'm adding the clouds in this way. So 1, 2, 3 clouds, let's say, as an example. Well, this is good, but then I don't have a clouds update, right? Here's my clouds update. And I don't want to have a clouds, it's cloud update that I want to do, right? I don't have a cloud, so what I need to do is I'm going to copy this for loop again. I have to say this, right? Update and I'll call this update the clouds, and put that over here in my update class, right? And take this, copy it, and instead of adding it, I'm going to update it. What happened? I want to cut it and I want to update it. There we go. So cloud update, that's what it does. So this is update each cloud. And I could have used the for each as well. That would have done the same thing, cloud and clouds. But this is the same. So I've got now multiple clouds, 3 clouds, and they're all of type an object of clouds. So each cloud object, it's an anonymous object I'm adding in to the cloud array, right, that's holding clouds, right? So I'm adding a number of clouds in there. There's objects. Make sense? Okay, let me compile that, and if I don't get a compiler, I'm good. And then I'm going to go back to the scene, sorry, refresh, and then now I should have multiple clouds. Uh-oh, what happened? What happened? How come I'm getting an error? Well, of course I'm getting an error, right? Why am I getting an error? What do you think it is? Here's my inspect element. Let's go to my console for a second. It says uncut cannot set property of 0 of undefined. Well, of course it's undefined, right? Because I haven't defined an array of anything yet. And what I need to do is in here, when I define my array, there's a couple ways to do this. I could say something like this, is equal to an objects.cloud array, objects.cloud array, an empty array of objects. But I have to specify here the size of my array if I do it this way, right? So I could say, you know, of size 3 or whatever, because I want 3 clouds in there. And I got to go one of these. But objects.cloud is what I really want. An object.cloud array of 3 elements. That's what I want to say. So I want to instantiate that. Now when I've done this, right, and by the way, there's another easier, stupider way to do it, which is, you know, flipping the bird to TypeScript, which is putting just 2 brackets at the end, some empty array, right? We don't want that. We want this for good code hinting. All right, so let's recompile everything and go back to this and refresh, right? And we should have, if we did everything correctly, start. And now we still have 0 of undefined, which is under game.ts34, which is what we want to look at. So back to the drawing board here. So 34 is where we're having the problem. So we're 0. We're adding clouds to the cloud array, right? And here's the new cloud. We're saying add this cloud into the cloud array, cloud, right? So it starts at cloud 0 and cloud 1 and cloud 2, and so on and so forth in my cloud array, right? And here's where I instantiate my cloud array to 3, right? So it says class objects cloud, right? Namespace objects. What was that? I could, but that means that I want to have 3 new objects. If I go like one of these, you mean? Like that? That's like, I'm defining 3 objects in there that are, I don't know, they're 3 empty objects of that cloud, right? And this is 3 arrays, right? I'm adding 3 arrays. What I could do is one of these, right? This is what fixes it. It's an array of any. If you look at over here, it says if I hover over this thing, right, that kind of does it, right? Because I can add in as many as I want. That should fix it. Let's just, oh wait, let's go back. But we have to make sure we compile properly before we go back and refresh and go back. And now we see there's a number of clouds that come in, right? That fixes it, but we don't want that. We want a number of cloud arrays, right? That's what it does. So there's 3 objects here. And we'll fix it next week when we have more time. Yeah. So all I'm doing is here is, now this is bad. Why is this really bad? Because I'm going through each cloud and I'm updating, right? So, we need to update the clouds automatically, and we're going to do that inside themselves. They need to do it so by themselves they call their own loop, because otherwise I would have. All I should do have to say is cloud update, and it updates them all, like almost like a clouds subclass, right? But for now, let me just update this on GitHub. So I'm going to go here. And I'm going to go to here and add all this up there, and I'm going to say added clouds, cloud and island objects. We'll fix your problem. I will. I'll fix it. I'll find out what the problem is, and I'll say push. And you guys should have all that up on GitHub now. So if you didn't get me, then you have all this. Okay, see you guys next week. Next week we'll finish this off, right, with full collisions and everything else. Remember that this, when does this thing due? Next week. Next week? Trying to get it going so it's done, right? So at least I got most of it done, right? So now it's just collisions and all that, and the scoring, which is easy, right? How do I do a collision? You could, but that's really challenging. And I recommend, what was that? Center to center is the distance. I kind of do a distance between the two, and I set up a distance method. It's not the because collision bounds means I draw a square, right? And the square is, it doesn't really highlight the plane, right? I have to either do some kind of polygon shape, just like we do in Unity, and that is a more complicated, connection. So what I want to do is like a distance to distance, the distance between your center and my center, and then I have a distance. And if you're closer than when we're touching, and I can know that by half your height or half my height and half your height, we're that close. If it's less than that, that means we're within each other. We're kind of overlapping right there. That's a quick and dirty. Right? Okay, and that's it for me, and we'll see you next week.